This is crazy. It took me like 20 minutes to get back on. It makes me think that PBC is controlling boxing. Well, it's 12:42 now. I was on a roll, and I got the link in if anyone is back on. But it literally, I got booted off. The boxing scholar was about to come in. We were about to talk boxing, and I got booted. And it took me 20 plus minutes to get back in, and there's nothing wrong with my Wi-Fi. So man, that took the wind out of my sails. I was on a roll, but Boxing Scholar, listen, the link is in there. If anyone wants to come on East Coast, it's 12:42, so it's late, man. I don't know if anyone is out there and they want to talk boxing, but I'm here. I'm still awake because I'm still I don't know if pumped up is the word because it was kind of anticlimactic after the first two rounds. I thought that Zoo was going to get a knockout by the sixth, and then he got that horrific cut, and it became a different fight. The fight was never stopped. They let it go on. Zoo was blind over the last 10 rounds, fought as well as he could. He loses a split decision. So, um, Boxing Scholar, if you're out there, man, I went to go click you in and things went haywire. I've never had this happen, by the way. Uh, I don't know. I can't believe that PBC runs runs the net, but Jay Rich, yeah, Jay, I got kicked out of my own channel. It was crazy. Boxing Scholar was coming on. We were gonna talk some boxing, and yeah, that's that's what happened. So the link is out there. So if anyone wants to talk about tonight, give your thoughts. I gave my thoughts. I thought that the fights were very interesting. That flyweight fight, it was a war for 12 rounds. Lara, at the age of 40, suddenly has become a knockout puncher. Is it his training or is it something else? I mean, the guy is 40 years old. He was never a bomber before. Suddenly, he is a knockout puncher at the age of 40. Only in boxing do these miraculous things happen. Then you had Rolly losing his belt to Pitbull Cruz, and Pitbull Cruz has made 140 an even better, deeper division. I don't think Rolly will ever fight again. And if he does fight again, he will never, ever reach the heights he's reached. He is done in my eyes. Then the main event, Tim Tszyu loses his belt to Sebastian Fundora. Um, Boxing Scholar, listen, come back in if you want. I don't know what happened. I saw you were in the waiting room and I went to click you in and I got booted off. And it literally, I had to restart my computer twice. I could not get back on, and my Wi Fi is perfect, just bizarre. So, Boxing Scholar, if you want to talk about what happened, your point of view with what happened, feel free. The link is there. If anyone wants to jump in, the link is there. Jay Rich, man, I had Lara by decision, and now he's throwing one punch. Well, yeah, he's 40 years old. Lara was never a banger. He was a boxer and a mover, and suddenly he's got power that he never had. Where has it come from? I don't know. So, Boxing Scholar, if you want to come back in, we had a nice little crowd going too, and it got blown out. So it's late. I mean, on the West Coast, on the East Coast, it's 12:46. Um, the card, I will give credit to PBC. I thought that production wise, that they were lacking in a lot of ways. And why talk about that? Because who cares? But they were lacking in a lot of ways. But they had the main event in the ring before 11 o'clock. And when's the last time we saw that on a pay per view? that the main event was in the ring before 11. So I give them credit for that. I think they have to work on some things, but we'll see how that works out in the future. So I think we had this. Yeah, Jay. Yeah, I don't get it, Jay. Teach. Salute George. When are you guys going live on ProBox with this recap? Teach. I am no longer with ProBox. ProBox let me go over a week ago. They were not happy with me, period. So I don't know. There's no loyalty in business and boxing. That's how it is. It's a dirty sport. They let me go, so I am no longer with ProBox. This would have been a good fight to go live with Paulie and Chris. AP the Great, salute George, salute to you. Teach, no, yes, teach. AP the Great, yeah, right. Teach, you were so great with these lives. Yeah, we had a good thing going, but I'm happy that they gave me the opportunity to be on camera with champions and hold my own as just a little guy in boxing. I had the chance to hold my own with Teddy Atlas, with Sean Porter, Tim Bradley, Chris Algieri, and Paulie Malignaggi. I think I did my job well. I think I brought enthusiasm and knowledge to the platform, but the owners of ProBox thought otherwise. But it's a dirty game. It's like boxing is dirty. Production is dirty too. People have other people they want to work with. I didn't know anyone in production at ProBox, so they found someone they wanted to work with. So I'm out. So be it. George, I don't believe you really. George April Fridge Smart, nice try. Well, AP the Great, trust me, this was my livelihood, so I wouldn't joke about this, but go back in the last 2 weeks. Have you seen me on ProBox TV? You haven't, because they got rid of me. So, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what happened tonight. Trick Nolte won round. George been saying this from everyone across you for Vince Phillips and Zoo got beat. Yeah, well, Vince Phillips though. Let's be honest, Trick. Vince Phillips beat Cassius' ass that night. Vince Phillips beat his ass. So, and I remember how hyped Roy Jones was that night when Vince won. So this is a different scenario, different circumstances. Yeah, Teach. Listen, it was not my choice. ProBox TV was my dream job. Talking boxing with champions and Hall of Famers. Who wouldn't want to do that? And I did it well. Again, it's a dirty business. It is a dirty business. And they made a change. So be it. Jay Ridge, feel like Pitbull getting this belt leads to a rematch with Tank. I do not want to see that. I don't want to see it either. Pitbull is a beatable fighter, but you have to be a special fighter like Tank to beat him. Rolly was not a special fighter, and he proved it tonight. You have to have a chin, and you have to be able to box. Rolly didn't have a chin, and Rolly could not box. Rolly was dependent on his power, and so be it. Yeah, Trick Nolte is the man. Trick Nolte's got a lot of contacts in the sport. AP the Great, you was a damn Aaron Rodgers of the show. Listen, I had a great time on ProBox, and I really did. And for me, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a fighter. I wanted to talk boxing, and I got to do it for over a year. And I was exposed to a big platform, and I'll use that going forward. Teach salute. Rolly got humiliated and exposed as a fraud. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he got humiliated. I mean, he never went down. He never stopped trying. But exposed, yes. Humiliated, I can't say he got humiliated. I mean, he was definitely exposed. I think Tank, when they fought, Tank gave him way too much. He gave him way too much respect as a puncher. Because remember that fight, Tank just was very wary. He wanted to wear him down. Rolly is what he is. He's got some power, but he's not a great fighter. And it was he had a dubious run as champion. I thought he didn't deserve to win his fight to get the belt, but so be it. He's a former champ now. Teach, I agree. Takes a boxer with good boxing ability to beat Cruz. It does. It does. And Tang showed that. There's a link again if anyone wants to jump in. It's late too on the East Coast. Yes. It takes someone with special talent to beat a guy like Cruz. But even in his last fight, I don't remember the guy he fought, but it was a guy that moved a lot. And Cruz had a lot of problems because Cruz just follows you. He doesn't cut off the ring. Paul and Chris always talk about that, cutting off the ring. Cruz doesn't cut off the ring. He follows you. He follows you. He follows you. And when Tank, let's be honest here. When Tank fought Cruz, Tank hurt his right hand. You saw it. I believe he threw an uppercut that was blocked. Cruz blocked it. He hurt his right hand. So Tank had to show other levels of his game as a boxer, and he clearly and easily outboxed Cruz with one hand. So Rolly Romero had two hands, and he's not a boxer. He never jabbed, and he got knocked out. So it is what it is. AP the Great. I thought Ryan versus Rolly is a good match, and Devin versus Pitbull. Ryan and Rolly, good match. Ryan Garcia, look, he's on the outside. To me, he's not beating Devin Haney. So Devin versus Pit. I think Devin has a field day against Pitbull. He has a field day against him. He's going to shine against him. He's going to outbox him for 12 rounds. I don't think he stops him because Pitbull's got a great chin. Jay Rich. Bud wanted to fight Jermell. He gets beat up by Canelo. Bud wants to fight Zoo. He loses to Fundora. Bud has the worst luck. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel bad for the guy because he is a millionaire and he's the best fighter in the world, but he's 36 and he's aging by the day. And now PBC is showing you that they're trying to set up Spence versus Fundora. But again, I said this before I was kicked off of my own show, that Sebastian Fundora is a guy who got brutally knocked out his last fight. And his reward, only in boxing, his reward is getting a title shot for not one, but 2 belts. So why shouldn't boxing give Errol Spence, who had the shit kicked out of him in his last fight, was beat down within an inch of his life, why not give him a title shot at 154 so he can get 2 belts? It seems like that's what PBC is doing. Bud wasn't there. Bud wasn't at the fight. Bud wasn't in the ring. Even though Bud has said he wants to fight Zoo, should Zoo win. Zoo didn't win. Fundora won. PBC cares about itself. You have to remember, boxing is a business. The purpose of a business is to make money. PBC is not looking to do what's best for boxing. PBC is there to do what's best for itself. And Errol Spence is a PBC fighter, so why not have Errol Spence fight Fundora? It's a business. Let's not play around here. It's crooked. Boxing is nasty. It's dirty. It's disgusting. There's a bunch of scumbags in it. The only thing that I respect about boxing are the fighters. Teach Giovanni Cabrera. I agree. Tim Tszyu is the real deal. His counterpunch window is precise. Yes. But right now, Tim Tszyu is a former champion. That's how it is. So I don't know. I'm about to. It's a shame I got booted off this before because I had a nice crowd in talking boxing. The link is out there. Boxing Scholar, if you're there, if anyone wants to jump in and talk about tonight, uh, whether you agree with the night, what were the highlights of the night. I think the highlight of the night for me, again, is Pitbull Cruz. He has made the best division in boxing even better because Rolly Romero was not a respected champion. He was not a respected champion because of the way he won his title. Then he had a long layoff, and then he comes back and he was dominated by Pitbull Cruz. And let's talk a little bit about boxing here because I don't have all the details in front of me, but I was watching the show like you guys were, and one of the judges had Rolly ahead in that fight. I would love to know which judge this was. I would love to know why they scored the fight the way they did. Was it a PBC influence? I don't know. But Pitbull Cruz has made 140 even better. You got Devin Haney, you got Subriel Matias, you got Teofimo Lopez, you got Shakur Stevenson, 5 pounds below. But now you got Pitbull Cruz as a champion at 140. And the fight I want to see, the number one fight I want to see in the sport is Subriel Matias and Pitbull Cruz to unify their belts at 140. What a fight that would be because you got two guys who just move forward. Something's got to give. And if it doesn't give, then we have a war. And then it becomes a battle of who's got the best chin, who's got more power. Pitbull Cruz has only had one fight at 140, and that was I believe, and that was the fight tonight where he won the belt. So stylistically, if you're talking about what makes more sense for the fans, Pitbull Cruz and Subriel Matias. Let's see that fight. Jay Rich says, Fundora did a good job taking those body shots. Thought that's what would end him. Now I feel like Fundora could beat Arrow. Might be crazy, LOL. Well, you know what, Jay? I mean, after 2 rounds, I would have bet my house that Zoo was going to get a knockout by the 8th. But then that cut came about, and what happened, and I give credit to Fundora. He had the opportunity in front of him. He had the scenario in front of him, and he used his height, he used his reach, and he did what he had to do. AP the Great, Rolly has to consider retiring. I think Rolly's done, AP. I think Rolly is done. If you follow, like I follow him on social media, and he did a lot of lives, and he talked about how he was hurt, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he really wants to fight. I mean, he's made some good money. I don't know if it's a life-changing money. Something seems kind of off with him. I don't think we're going to see him fight again. And if he does fight, he is what he is. I don't think he'll ever become a champion again. Jay Rich, man, that judge needs to be banned. Not even being funny. Rolly beat up every second of the fight, and the judge haven't hit him. Now, I thought Rolly won a couple of rounds, maybe 2. If you want to stretch it, maybe 3. I thought 2 of those rounds were 10-8 rounds. The first round was definitely a 10-8 round. There is no way that any competent judge, and I'll find out tomorrow. I'll go live maybe Sunday night. We'll talk about the judges and which judge it was that had Rolly up. But, they don't let judges talk. And they can't justify their scorecards. AP the Great, we thought that with Triple G versus Lemieux. We thought that with Triple G versus Lemieux. Yeah, we did. Jay Rich. Remember after Teofimo's last fight, he said Rolly had a bad back. He must have been telling the truth. Yeah, Rolly talked about that. And like if you follow him again, I would go on his lives. He would have these rambling, long lives where he would talk about nothing. And he would say he was hurt. And look, he came back. Ryan Garcia, I have to admit, Ryan Garcia was right. Rolly should have fought Ryan Garcia. If Rolly wanted to cash out, he would have gotten a lot more money for Ryan Garcia than he did for Pitbull. But who says that Rolly is the best, is the smartest businessman? He should have fought Garcia. He had a shot. and that went by the wayside. And guess what? He took on the better fighter, Pitbull Cruz, and he lost his belt. Ryan Garcia is going to get his ass kicked April 20th against Devin Haney if that fight happens. So it was overall, I thought the production, again, the production to me, I'm a production guy. I worked for HBO for 15 years. I was a producer with them. I've worked a lot of live shows, and they need a lot of work. They need a lot of work. I thought it was not the best show technically, but as a fan, at least they got the main event in the ring before midnight. So it was before 11 o'clock, I believe. So that's saying something. That was a big plus. If they can do that on a pay-per-view, have their main event in the ring before 11, that's great. Ryan versus Rolly is intrigued. Listen, no, Rolly had it. Maybe, you know what? That might be the fight, because after Ryan gets his ass kicked by Haney, maybe he and Rolly fight. Maybe that's a good fight to make next for the losers, but I don't know. I'm focusing on the positives, and Pitbull Cruz is a huge addition to 140, and 140 pounds is by far the best division in the sport of boxing. But let's see. It's March 31st. Let's call it April 1st. It's almost April. 140 pounds. You've got the top fighters in boxing at 135 and 140. Shakur, Teofimo, Devin Haney, Sabria Matias. Who am I missing? I'm missing one guy. Tank Davis. So, guess what? None of these guys has fought each other. None of them. None of them. AP the Great. Oh, by far, AP the Great. And if you want to jump on, we can talk, because I respect everyone's opinion. 140 is by far a better division than heavyweight, by far. But there are too many unbeaten fighters. Why are there too many unbeaten fighters? Because they don't fight each other. They don't fight each other. Jay, you see the Oscar Valdez? Yeah, I give Oscar credit. Liam Wilson, he is what he is. Oscar Valdez is aging, but Oscar Valdez has heart, and he fought a good fight last night. Jay Rich, great weekend of boxing. It was a great weekend. I don't even know. Did Zurdo win a cruiserweight belt? I got so caught up in the PBC card that I know Zurdo. First of all, I mean, okay. So DAZN, earlier in the day, DAZN had like competing cards at the same time. Al Bernstein was calling a card. There was another card going on at the same time. Zurdo Ramirez, I guess, fought tonight. I don't even know what happened. Zurdo won by decision. Okay, so I didn't watch it either. It is what it is, man. When I was with HBO, HBO and Showtime, they were the two biggest entities in the sport, and they would make sure that they didn't have competing cards. 2024, it's a different era. It's a different era now. I mean, DAZN had competing cards at the same time. I'm sorry, that's just stupid. It's stupid, but it is what it is. This is a new day. It's a new era. Who am I? I'm a little guy. I don't know. So it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend of boxing. I mean, there certainly were a lot of fights, and I say that if Zurdo won by decision, I give him props. Zurdo has won a cruiserweight belt. I think he's the first Mexican to win a cruiserweight belt. Yes, AP the Great. It is the wild, wild west. It is crazy, it's unpredictable, and it's kinda stupid. It's kinda stupid at times, and tonight is a night. I mean, there's too many fights going on, but this is 2024, there's no respect for the boxing fan. They expect you to watch 2 fights at once, which on the zone you had to do earlier in the day. Al Bernstein was back. He caught a fight in Bulgaria on the zone. Let me tell you, the zone. No one. I'm a little guy. There's 6 people watching me right now, but the zone. Al Bernstein, the great Hall of Famer Al Bernstein, caught a fight on the zone earlier today. He caught a Pulev fight. Um, I watched about 10 minutes of it. I couldn't watch any more because the audio was so poor. The production was so poor. Al Bernstein deserves better. Al Bernstein should have been on that PBC card tonight. But, you know, what do I know? What do I know? Uh, it is what is it? It's 1:07 a.m. Uh, I don't know, folks. I'm sure there's a lot of people going live right now, and I'm one of many. I'm just a little guy talking boxing. AP the Great, I'm in disbelief. Jim Lampley doesn't have a commentary job. Well, Jim does something with ppv.com, and it's some kind of a chat. To be honest, I don't care about Jim Lampley in the chat. I want to hear Jim Lampley call fights. I'm an HBO guy. I grew up on HBO. I worked for HBO for 15 years. Jim Lampley still wants to be calling fights, and no one seems to be interested. So I think it's criminal. I think Jim Lampley should have been calling fights tonight on PBC. But Jim Lampley is also 70 plus years old. Uh, for me, he's been the voice of boxing, and I think that he should still be calling fights. But he said that no one came to him offering him a job. So, all right. Let's see. It's been almost 30 minutes, so it's 1 o'clock in the morning. They kicked me off. I had a good stream going before. Engine ears to the streets. Jim Lampley is one of the goats in boxing commentary. Most definitely. I agree. And I think it's sad that he will tell you, he told me, I interviewed him with ProBox, that he said no one approached him. No one has approached him. So if that is indeed true, that no one offered him a job, that's criminal. Now remember, he was supposed to go out some fights with Triller a few years ago, and it didn't happen. I forget the circumstances. I know the fight that he was supposed to call changed. So, um, in sports commentary, yeah, Jim is my guy. Jim is my. I mean, I worked with Jim again. I was at HBO for 15 years, and I got to work alongside Jim, and he is he's a great guy. AP the Great. You know what? Bernstein to me, he's like a link to my childhood, man. One of the best. Hagler versus Hearns, 1985, April 15th, 1985, was on HBO. You had uh, Larry Merchant, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Barry Tompkins with the call. Great call. But the closed circuit call was Al Bernstein and Al Michaels. And if you go back and listen to that, that was, to me, that was one of the greatest calls I've ever heard. Al Bernstein, I would have loved my. I mean, if I could put my own team together, here's what it would be. Sergio. Okay. Well, here's my dream team. My dream team for the last 20 years. Jim Lampley, Al Bernstein, and Roy Jones. That's my squad. I'll put that squad up against anyone. I'm not saying that there aren't others that are great, But the last 15, 20 years, Jim Lampley, Bernstein, and Roy. Ooh. You know what? You want to put Paulie in there? I'll put Paulie in there too. Paulie and Roy are like neck and neck because the way they can break down a fight and tell you as a fan and explain to you as a fan, it's incredible what they do. So I'll put Paulie in there too. Goosen is incredible. Okay. Um, Listen, that's your opinion. I won't bash it. Gil Clancy is that's a throwback for me. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy on CBS. I'm a kid, man. I'm a kid. And Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy, I love. I mean, this is a different era. This is a different era. Tim Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy on CBS and on NBC. You had Marv Albert and Freddie Pacheco. I mean, those were different days. Those were different days. Merchant is great. Uh, Larry is my guy. I worked with Larry for 15 years, and a lot of people hate Larry. I love Larry. I saw Larry's enthusiasm for the sport. Um, I keep in touch with Larry today. Listen, Larry was never a fighter, but he gave his opinion, and I loved him. The Colonel. It, oh man, AP the Great. You go back to the historic battles in boxing. The Colonel's all over it. The Colonel's all over it. Ali Foreman, the Colonel's all over it. That's the call. That's the call. I got to interview him once too. Uh, Years ago, I was in Macau, China with Top. I was with HBO, but Top Rank. They had a Chinese fighter fighting over there, Zhu Shming, and I got to interview the Colonel for the first time. So meeting him was incredible. Being able to interview him, he had a lot of stories. I wish Andre Ward would call fights again too. That's another one. Andre Ward should be all right. I don't get what's going on. I don't get why Roy Jones and Andre Ward are not calling fights. I don't understand. And Tarver is another one. Tarver, wow, like this is getting a great squad. Me personally, I go to Lampley, Roy, and Kellerman. Well, hey, brother, listen, I'm biased. I am biased. I'm an HBO guy. So you give me that lineup right there to call any fight, Lampley, Roy, and Kellerman, sign me up. Sign me up. Andre Ward is average, says AEP the Great. Listen, that's your opinion. I'm putting a link in if anyone wants to talk boxing. I think Andre Ward is above average. Steve Farhood, incredible. Yeah, I love Steve Farhood. I love Steve Farhood. Tim Bradley is my guy. Tim Bradley, I have a history with Tim. When I was a producer with HBO, his first fight with Manny Pacquiao was the first 24/7. If anyone remembers 24/7, it was the first 24/7 that I produced, and I was on Tim. I was in Tim's camp, so yeah, Tim is great, but Tim's got a job. Abner terrible. Um, okay, that's your opinion. Hopkins terrible. Well, Hopkins doesn't call fights, so thank God for that. AP George Foreman was good at HBO. George Foreman was a performer, and George Foreman had cachet as the two-time heavyweight champion. Uh, George Foreman was entertaining, and I miss George Foreman. Atlas was great. AP the Great. Why don't you jump on? If you want to jump on, we can talk boxing. Stuart Amazing, Joe Tessitore, great. I actually have Zhu met him a couple times. Yeah, I was in Macau. Engineers. I was in Macau. He fought on HBO, and I went out there. They sent me out there to do a feature on him. Oh, and it took me like 2 weeks to the jet lag was crazy. But yeah, I went to and by the way, the flight was to Hong Kong, I think I went to Tokyo, to Hong Kong, and then you had to take a boat into Macau. That's where Zhu Shming fought. Uh, but Zhu Shming is gone. AP the Great. I hate Kellerman. Kellerman is terrible. Listen, that's your opinion, and it is what it is. Boxing analyst, boxing. Listen, if you want to jump back on, I apologize. I don't know what happened before. It took me 20 minutes to get back in. Uh, yeah, I I think PBC did boot me off the live somehow. That was crazy. I mean, PBC I think is whatever. They are what they are. Porter terrible, no man. Porter's my guy. PBC booted George off, maybe. Ray Leonard terrible. Oh man. All right, AP. You can't see. Let's see. You see right there, Sugar Ray Leonard. That was 1979 when he won his welterweight title against Wilfred Benitez. So I'm a Sugar Ray guy. When I was a kid, I fought for a while, and I literally wanted to be Sugar Ray Leonard. Like I wanted to be him, not fight like him. I wanted to be him. So Sugar Ray is my guy. But Sugar Ray, as an analyst, um, not great, not great. What happened to Zhu? Zhu Shming was not that good of a fighter. He he was not that good of a fighter. AP taking too much, you got to hit the stream yard. I don't know what that means. Boxing analyst. I'm on StreamYard. So AP, what's AP? I'm on StreamYard, but it's on it should be on YouTube. So AP the Great 28, I love her as a fighter. He's in my top 5, but commentary, he's terrible. Yeah, listen, I don't want to end this on a bad note. Let's talk about Sugar Ray the fighter. Sugar Ray the fighter. What a strange career. I mean, he was the pound for pound. All right, we got somebody. We got G. All right, now it's happening again. I see G Nunez, and it won't let me add you. All right, hang on. So the same thing is happening again. What is going on? Wow. George, have you ever been a part of any of the fights you have on your wall? No, no. All the fights on my wall. By the way, G Nunez. Oh wait, add the stage. Here we go.
Can you hear me, George?
G Nunez, you there?
Yo, can you hear me?
Man, I don't know what is going on. I got G Nunez in the house. G, you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right. Well, I don't know what's going on with this G. I tried to add. Let me try one more time. All right. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know what is going on. This is crazy. He's on the screen and we can hear him. We can hear him. Wow. So I don't know what is going on with my internet because I could not hear him. Um, it must be some kind of a conspiracy. Sugar Ray's the only fighter left that you still see in Every Time Is Today. No other fighter, Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray, yeah, he's got some sketchers things. I don't know what's going on because G Nunez, I tried to add you and it would not let me. I don't know what is going on. Boxing analyst, Matias' next fight going to be at a tiny arena. That place is going to be packed. Yes, he's fighting in Puerto Rico, I believe. Liam Paro, I think he's fighting. I don't care. I don't care about that fight, except I take it back. I do care because I want to see Subriel Matias fight because I think he is an amazing fighter. J Rich, I hear you, G Nunez. Don't know about George. I don't get it, man. Why? Why could I not? We can hear him, but you can't. I'll have to watch this back. He's on screen and we can hear him. Are you being infiltrated technologically somehow? This is insane. I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, it's late. It's 1:23 a.m. and I'm tired, but uh I I don't understand what's going on. That's the second person I tried to get to add and I couldn't and I'll be curious to watch this back on YouTube to see what happened, but I apologize to the people I tried to add on. Al Heyman determined to get you up, but you know what? I'm not even slamming PBC. I think they're slimy, but you know, Liam Paro, Jay, maybe you know more about me than Paro, but that's a stay busy fight, and I'm glad that that Matias is fighting. I just want to see Matias fight. The fight I want to see is Matias and Pitbull. Make that fight. Make that fight. But now Matias is not with PBC anymore, so we probably won't get that fight. At 41, Lara blasted a prime young lion. Yeah, is he 41 or is he 40? I don't know. Suddenly he's got all this power. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me in boxing where that power comes from at the age of 40 or 41 when he was not a power fighter before. Erislandy Lara has had a long career. He's been a boxer, a mover. He's never been a puncher. Suddenly, at the age of 40, he's a puncher. And the fools out there will tell you that he's just his legs aren't what they were, and he's had to settle down. Okay. Yes, he is technically sound. It comes from the heart and will, and maybe something from a syringe, but who knows, or a pill form. Lara and Beterbiev got the same doctor. Ooh, shots to Beterbiev. Listen, man, Beterbiev though. I mean, that's the fight I'm looking forward to. June 1st, Beterbiev and Bivol. I can't wait for that fight. And Saudi Arabia made it happen when no one else could make it happen. So props to them. AP the Great, Lara places his punches with torque. Yeah, man, where'd he get all that torque from? He didn't have that torque when he fought Canelo. He didn't have that torque when he fought all those other guys. Um, listen, I don't know what's going on tonight. So my link is out there. If one more person wants to try to come on, because it's like, man, it's like 1:25. My whole house is asleep. My wife is asleep. Daughter's asleep. Hopefully, I'm not keeping them up. Um, I don't know. I'm just jazzed up to talk boxing because of this night, because of this pay-per-view, because of the fact that Sebastian Fundora is the unified champion at 154. How unbelievable I thought that was, but it is a reality. And I used to be with ProBox, so I have one of the best text chats that anyone could have. Every day, uh, I text with Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi, and I'll never obviously divulge our text, but I learned a lot from those guys every day, and we were texting each other during that card, and there were, especially Paulie was outraged that the fight wasn't stopped because you had a fighter who couldn't see. He couldn't see. He fought 10 rounds. 10 rounds and he could not see, and he ended up losing his belt. So shout out to to Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri. Tim Stock is still good in my eyes. It is. I mean, you can't deny his heart, but you also have to give credit to Sebastian Fundora. Fundora was bleeding from his nose, from his mouth, the second round on, and he took advantage of the situation. He had a compromised fighter in front of him. He had a guy who couldn't see, so he did what he should do. He's 6'6" with I don't know what his reach is, but he had the reach advantage, and he used it, and he was jabbing and throwing lefts, and he fought the way he should fight. Should have been no contest, accident. Yeah, well, I honestly thought that that's where it was going. I really did. AP the Great. Fundora couldn't breathe really to be. Again, I'm giving him credit. I'm giving him credit because he was bleeding from his mouth and nose from the second round on, so he had to swallow that and deal with that for 10 rounds. So there's two fighters in the ring. Fundora could have just folded, and he didn't. He had a guy who was blind in front of him, and he fought a smart fight. Why would he just go toe to toe with Tim Tszyu? Use your height, use your reach, and he did. One judge gave Tim 8 rounds. Tim got 4 rounds at best. Well, I don't know. I wasn't scoring the fight, so I thought it was an interesting night of boxing, and shout out to those flyweights. The first card of the night. The flyweights, they put on an entertaining show. Brian Mendoza needs to retire too. Boja put on beating. Corner should be ashamed, not throwing in the towel. Yeah, I did not see that fight. I didn't see any of the preliminaries. I just saw it from the when the pay-per-view card started. That's when I saw it. So I know I'm going online right now. I'm looking at my page, and there's 4 people. There's 4 people on right now, which I appreciate. But you know what? My man Paulie went live. He went live an hour ago. And my internet is really acting crazy now. I'm trying to see if I can get Paulie's. Wow. This is crazy that my internet is acting like this, that I can't seem to get things to work. Yeah, I know Paulie was disgusted by the decision in the Tszyu fight. Well, I was going to try and play. I don't know what is going on, man. I cannot get my internet to. In the granite 617, elbow cut him and primal old school toughness kicked in. Yeah. Tszyu. Listen, there's no doubt. Both guys, you got to give credit to Fundora as well. I was going to try and play. I don't get it. My internet. I never do these lives. especially this late. And my internet is just acting crazy right now. I can't get things to play. I wanted to play Paulie from his. Let's see if I can play this. Paulie Malignaggi has his own channel. Yeah, it's not going to play. So, and the Granite says, I thought they pushed Zoo too fast. I thought Zoo was ready. He certainly looked ready the first two rounds before he was blinded by blood. Jay Rich, shout out to the ladies on it now too. Sinisa, yeah, Sinisa, Estrada, and Valle, they fought a good fight, and I thought Sinisa won the fight, and she is undisputed. She fought a great fight. I just don't understand what is going on with my Wi-Fi tonight. It boggles my mind, but I'm gonna give this one more shot. Okay. Well, they let me back in my own show. I don't know what is going on with my Wi-Fi tonight. Paulie is very outspoken. Sniper Nation, yes, he is. Yes, Paulie is very outspoken, and he'll be the first to tell you that. Paulie says what's on his mind. Hopefully, people can hear me. Can people hear me? Tim would have stopped Zoo. All right, so you can hear me. Okay. I'm bugging here. You think he's rid of the Tanks and Newy's Crawfords? You're talking about Pitbull, obviously. I mean, he fought Tank. He won 12 with Tank. I think that's who you're talking about. Paulie is the Italian Tupac. He'll do one in the future. And the grunt, happy Easter, George. Peace to your chat. Yes, happy Easter. George, we're gonna get you some tutorials. What are you working with over there? You got two monitors. I do have two monitors, but Jay, my internet, I don't know, man. Sniper Nation, you mix passion plus rage plus articulation. You got Paulie. Yes, indeed. Indeed. You do have Paulie. I'm going to try one more time to. Paulie went live not too long ago, and he's, and I'm sure Paulie wouldn't mind if I. Wow. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get Paulie's. And I cannot get it. Yeah, my Wi-Fi just is not working tonight. So this is definitely bizarro world over here. Jay Rich, I would assume your Wi-Fi is good since your video is clear and we hear you. LOL. I don't know though. Yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to get Paulie from his page, and I want to play it on here so people can hear Paulie's point of view, but I don't know. I've been unable to get people to join me live. So whatever. I'm going to end this because this is exceedingly frustrating at 1:38 in the morning. But we have got a new unified champion at 154 pounds, and his name is Sebastian Fundora. Let's talk again, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, when my Wi-Fi is working better. We'll have some more to say. But it was a long day of boxing. We got a new champ, and 140 pounds has gotten better. Let's talk about it next time.